This podcast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
We use some naughty language in this, so don't tell your parents.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
This is the Yungblud podcast. Turn up that volume. Happy! This is my podcast where I talk to one of you at home about something personal, something important, something slightly strange, or maybe slightly weird. I'm never here to tell you what to think or do. No shame, no judgment, never. I'm just here having a chat, connecting with you. My guest this week is Serena. She's 19 from Northampton. Serena spoke to me as a drag alter ego, Peachy Ray. She suffers from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but has found herself through drag and performance. She looked absolutely sick, and I love talking to her. This story is so interesting. Let's get into this conversation. Turn up that volume. Yo,
hello.
Serena, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. How's it going? I love your hair.
Thank you. It's just a wig, but...
Oh, no, it's like, I love it. I couldn't wait to talk to you. It's one of the most excited I've been, actually, just because kind of your story oozes self-expression, and I'm going to be who I am. I don't care what you're going to say about it. I am going to disrupt the normal, and if anyone who knows me, to disrupt the normal is my favourite thing to do.
Definitely.
Ever. So, one thing I wanted to ask at first, like, what is Ehlers-Danlos? Because you were diagnosed with that when you were young, right?
Yeah. It's basically a connective tissue disorder. It affects my entire body. I have chronic pain, chronic fatigue. I'm in a wheelchair at college, so it's just not the nicest thing to live with.
Yeah, and what does a rock and roll star who has a chronic fatigue disorder decide to do? You are a drag performer, and that is so cool. Like, I love that. I love that no matter what the world threw at your way, you kind of just get up and do that. And I couldn't wait to speak to you, because I think this story and your story is going to amplify to people out there that you can do whatever you want to do.
Oh, definitely.
Nothing is impossible. Just keep going and go out there and be incredible. When did you first discover drag?
I was 14 at the time when I first discovered drag, so I was a little baby.
So sick. What was it about drag that kind of inspired you? And
I think the makeup more than anything, because I was very into like special effects makeup. I've always been a lover of makeup, and I loved how they did their makeup, so I decided to try it at the time.
Dude, that's so cool. I literally, your makeup today is insane. Your eyes look
Thank
amazing. You. What were your friends at school like when you kind of was like, I love performing in drag?
I actually didn't have any friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had no one really who... I mean, I have a really good friend now who supports me so well. She's been to every single one of my performances. She's always front row recording me.
Dude, that's so sick. I think that's interesting, isn't it? It's kind of like when you find something that fundamentally makes you who you are, that's when you're going to find the people who are meant to be in your life.
Yeah.
You know, I think especially with me, like when I was kind of wearing nail polish and wearing a skirt as kind of when I was growing up, it was kind of hard for people to process. But when I just was like, do you know what, I'm just going to be myself. I'm just going to be who I am. I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm going to go out there every day and just be like, yo, this is who I am. I actually found friends who are going to be with me for the rest of my life because we have something to connect over.
Exactly.
What was your first performance in drag like?
It was so liberating. I felt so amazing.
Yeah. What was that process like when you meet people in the drag community? Was the drag community welcoming to you, or was it hard?
Not at all.
Really?
Because I'm actually a female drag queen. So it was a lot of the older drag queens who were like, you can't do it, you're female, you're biologically female, you cannot be a drag queen, you're not welcome in our community, go away, basically.
Oh, that's so hard. That's so hard, because I think like kind of drag is about freedom of expression. And drag is about like, I am gonna heighten my personality or change my personality or be something and radiate vibrance and freedom and inclusivity. So I bet that was really hard, because no matter who you are, you should be allowed to express yourself. You know what I mean? No, like there should be no stigma anywhere. And And I think that's incredible that you are just being yourself and you're just going for it and been amazing. How many drag shows have you done?
I've done 2 at the moment because I kind of started around last year and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And all my other performances just got cancelled.
Were you nervous? Were you frightened before the shows?
Not as much as I thought I would, because it's kind of like I'm a different person.
Yeah.
The anxieties, the depression has all just gone.
Dude, that's
And
so
I'm just
sick.
a free person.
Dude, that's what I feel like when I'm on stage. I think as soon as I
Yeah.
kind of walk on stage, it's like you get to leave everything at the
Definitely.
door. And you get to go on stage and you get to be so immersed and so electrified by
Yeah.
this thing you do. And was it crazy when you did your first drag performance and everyone went crazy and stood
Yeah.
up and clapped? And was it amazing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did Applause by Lady Gaga.
Wow.
And obviously everyone started applauding along.
Dude, I mean Gaga is just one of my absolute idols. I mean, I think she's the closest thing to a kind of a 21st century David Bowie that there's ever been, really.
Yeah.
I think she kind of breaks down stigma and makes people feel incredible for being who you are. Do you have like a favourite drag act, or like who's your inspiration?
My inspiration is someone called Evie Oddly.
Really?
Yeah, because she also had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Oh, wow.
And she won RuPaul's Drag Race, so I feel like if she can do it, I can.
That is so sick. As I say, if you do not belong in the real world, build a world for yourself and just express yourself and be free. That makes me so happy and excited that you kind of identify with someone. What I want people listening to this to take from this story is that you're 19 years old, you have a condition that puts a strain on what you're doing already, but you're battling through it and you're fighting through it and you're being incredible. And people, no matter what, even if they're cutting you down, you're still being yourself and you're still doing your thing. I think that's such a big thing for people. Like, no matter what odds are up against you, just if you believe hard enough that you can do something, you can do it. And I think that's
Definitely.
insane. Thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you for having me.
Catch you later. Have a happy one.
Catch you later.
See you later. Rock
Bye-bye.
star. You rock and roll star. Peachy Ray, what a legend. I love talking to her so much. And I think that conversation resembles, if you find a passion in something, no matter how impossible it may seem, if it helps you get through all the shit in your life, you should follow it with everything you got. Never let anyone tell you you're not good enough or this is not the right thing for you. Subscribe to the podcast on BBC Sounds to hear new episodes first. I'll see you next week. Look after yourselves.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Just a gentle reminder, there's a little bit of swearing in this, so please don't tell your parents. Happy! Hello, welcome back to the Yungblud podcast. Turn up that volume. Happy New Year 2021. Touch wood, this one's a little bit better. I am so excited about today's episode. I got one of my best mates in. I've got photographer, superstar, an all-round legend, Miss Aeneas Gallagher with me. Hello, Aeneas.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, man. We could talk for years, so we've got to keep this short, haven't we?
We could talk for years.
Today, I wanted to talk about the idea of perception. Big topic.
Broad.
Broad topic. When I first met you, I had such an idea of what you would be. And now I know you and you're like one of my best mates. It's completely not what I had in mind. At the start, I thought you were like, all right, man, how are you? Nice to meet you. Because when did we first met in LA?
Yeah.
Right? You were shooting me for a magazine.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. And then we just like ended up just hanging out all day and just
Yeah.
like going to get vintage t-shirts and buying pizza.
And going to the beach.
And yeah, I just remember having completely a different perception of what you would be. And I thought, I'd love you anyway, but I'd love you more now I know exactly who you are.
I think in the position that I come from, perception is always quite hard because I come from a very well-known family, but I'm not well-known. So therefore people know my family, they know what they sound like, they know how they dress, what they do, what their opinions are. So because of that, people then think that I, subscribe to the same ideologies as them or talk the same. And I think it almost disappoints people when they hear me, because they have a perception that I'm going to be so Mancunian, and then I come and I sound so posh.
But it was actually, you know what? It was actually the opposite for me.
Hello.
It just intrigued me. We'll get into this in a second, but Aeneas, without bigging you up too much, you are such an interesting person, because you have, honestly, not even jerking you off too much, you know what I mean?
Go on, continue.
I was just saying, the way you think about things is completely different to what I would expect. And, do you know what? That's, kind of probably bad on my part. You know what I'm saying? I thought you would. I fell into that trap of a perception of what you would be. And I think, I couldn't wait to have you on, because I wanted to highlight that idea that no matter where you come from, or no matter what you've grown up with, or what kind of the world may look like in your surroundings, you can be your own person, because the only way is your way, because that's how you live, being utterly yourself. You know?
I mean, I think obviously every single part of our life, or our childhood, or where we grow up, shapes us in some way. But ultimately, you can't let too much of it determine who you are, because then you just you get into a lull, or you be who people want you to be, or how they perceive you. So you do have to, wake up one morning and think, I'm gonna have to be my own person. And I think it's very difficult for someone like me, because I have such a want to be my own person, and I know that no matter how much success I have, I'm never going to have as much success as my dad. And I know that I will always be Ines Gallagher, not Gallagher's daughter. And that's something that you have to come to terms with and not let it get you down, because you can go about your life and think, oh God, everybody's just going to constantly say I'm not Gallagher's daughter, or people are going to perceive me in some way. But you've got to, turn around and use that to your advantage. And it's a really good thing when, you get to surprise people, or, people tend to, it's easier for people to make a decision on who you are rather than actually open their ears and get to know you, because it takes a lot of effort to get to know someone. So it's easier. You used to have that at school, when there'd be a kid in school and you think, oh, no, I don't want to hang out with them.
Exactly.
And then you'd actually get put next to them in science and you think, oh, they're actually okay, but you don't want to admit that they're okay. You just carry on thinking they're annoying because you're a child and you don't want to put that much effort into it. But, everybody has their own story. But, I mean, it's just the same as you when I met you. And even now with you, you've got your persona, and who you are is, you have moments where even I am like, I don't know this person. When you're like,
because I'm a million people at one moment.
You're so many. I mean, if anybody listening now, I know Dom so well. I've known him for 3 years. I probably see him 5 times a week. And sometimes I even walk in and I'm like, who's this Yungblud kid? Like, when I go and see you perform, and sometimes I think you come across quite, brash and stuff, and you're like so in people's faces and you're so loud. And then when I think, no, he's actually really quiet and like considerate and sensitive, and you can sit on the sofa with him and watch a film. And they're like, but what, does he talk through the whole film? I'm like, no, he doesn't. He actually can be quiet. It's funny how we put it on like armor sometimes, and sometimes we have this facade that we want people to see, because it's easier for them to put this
and process that information, because it kind of falls into a box within the spectrum that someone could understand. It falls into a timetable. You know what I'm saying? Your science today, your maths today, your drama today. You know what I mean? And it's just like, be your own person. That's what I think is such a magic thing. Because I even remember when we started getting into music, everyone was like, I know what they are. He's just like a B-rate Arctic Monkeys. And I was like, I mean, fair enough, yeah, but that is exactly not what I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm a 20-year-old kid with dark hair from the north who sings in a northern accent about.
So you must be the Arctic
I must
Monkeys.
be the Arctic Monkeys. You know what I mean? It's like, life ain't charades.
No.
You know what I mean? Life is not charades. It's literally a new board game that's invented every single day. What's your favourite thing in the world?
Oh, Tom.
Don't think, just go. What's your favourite thing in the world ever?
Animals.
And you love animals. You love goats.
I love goats.
You love a
animals.
billy goat.
Love a billy goat.
Do you know what I'm saying? But I would never have thought that when I met you. I was like, you know what I mean? I was just like, I would not be like, you there in a scarf in the countryside, like rubbing a billy goat's chin. Oh, that's my doorbell. I kind of like that, guys. Like, we're literally in my house. It's like, that's my doorbell. Tom's answering it right now. Tell them to be really quiet when they come up the stairs, yeah? But yeah, man, that's like, I would not expect that of you. And it's like, most people don't like know that like one of my favourite things in the world is literally grass.
Love grass.
I love grass.
But we're both quite similar. We love the countryside.
But do you know what I like? I literally love like the space, man, because everything's always so full of so much noise.
And do you know
all
what?
the time.
We do the exact same thing, which is whenever we're happy and we want to go somewhere with our friends, we go, let's go to the middle of nowhere. Let's go to the countryside. Let's go as far away from the city as possible. And we're both so similar in that sense.
Yeah, but people would not expect that.
No.
It's so funny. I was literally on New Year, I was literally with my family, and we're having a bit of a crisis. Like, so like my mum's sister was up with has been living with my mum for a couple of months. Well, she's not actually my mum's sister, but she's like kind of that. You know what I mean? I call her a northern auntie. That's like literally it. You know what I mean? She's so loud and gobby like, and I am. She's like, I bet people wouldn't bloody expect you to be just sat here watching Fire with us on New Year. I don't think Yungblud would be like that. He'd be like out drinking or something. And I was like, I am in by the fire watching Jules Owen with you because I'm not legally allowed to go out. But I am like that. I just love being with the people I love and being quiet. You know what I mean? Because I think everything else can be such a distraction. I love being present. I think being present is such a rare thing for me because I always have a million ideas at once, like what you're saying earlier, like I'm a million different people because I adopt my idea. I live my ideas. That's the thing. It's like I live my ideas.
Dom has this thing where he gets really inspired by something and he lives and breathes it for 24 hours until he's sick of it. That's what you do.
That's legitimately
You eat it, you drink it, you dress it, you watch all the films on it, you listen to all the music, he becomes an expert on it, and then he makes himself bored. But that's because you've got such a like intense personality that if you love something, you can't let it go. You've just got to consume all of it.
That's
at
what
once.
I'm saying. All at the same time, and I think that's it. It's just like, if I love something, I need to know everything about it.
Yeah, same
like,
with the Tudors.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I'll listen to one song on repeat.
Yeah.
Like, Tom goes mad. like Tom, like everyone, you all know Tom. If you don't know Tom, he's my photographer who's actually like flat buddies with Aeneas now, which is nice.
Lives with me, exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it's all very incestuous.
It's all very incestuous. But that's what I mean. It's just like, he plays me a song, I'm like, I love that. And he'll be like, I'll hear you downstairs in the shower, and it's on repeat for 6 hours. And I kind of do it in secret, so no one knows, but I'll listen to the same song.
Then you've ruined the song for Tom as well.
So then he's like, oh man, I love that song, but Dom's been listening to it for 6 days non-stop, and now I just can't do it. So you're a really sick photographer.
Thank you.
No stress, man. No stress. Another.
I'm not even going to deny it.
And I remember that shoot in LA for the first time because I was kind of.
No, but you don't remember. This is the thing: is Dom doesn't actually remember how it happened, how it all went down. It was this weird sort of serendipity in the way that I had one of my agents had said to me. I was living in LA, and I said, I'm really bored. I don't like it here. I want to do something. I want to work. And my agent said, okay, well, why don't you try and take photos of people? And I said, I hate everyone in LA. I don't want to take people in LA. They're all so lame. I basically hate, as a photographer, taking photos of models, and LA's just full of them, so I didn't really have anything to do. Anyway, so I go to a club, underage. You were underage too, weren't you? Or
no,
were you 21?
I wasn't actually. No, I was 21, I think. Maybe
How
I wasn't.
How are you now?
Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was underage.
It was 3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago, so I'm 20. No, I wasn't. No, technically, I was 20, so yeah, I wasn't. By American standards, I was underage.
And I was in this club, and we were walking up the stairs. I was leaving. Dom was arriving because I go to bed at 10 p.m. and Dom probably only starts going out at 10 p.m. So Dom was on his way down the stairs, and I was walking up, and I was having a slight argument with someone, trying to tell them to get out of the way. And I was like, excuse me, can you please move? And from the top of the stairs, I heard Dom shout, are you English? I was like, yeah. And you just don't even make eye contact. You just walk past and you go, I'm English too.
I love that.
And I kind of look down the stairs and I go to the person next to me, who was that? And they go, that's a kid called Yungblud. And I was like, God. So I went home and I Googled you and I was like, he looks cool. Then the most crazy thing happened. The next morning, lo and behold, my agent calls me and says, do you want to shoot this artist named Yungblud? And I thought,
whoa.
They were like, have you heard of him? And I said, well, I hadn't 5 hours ago, but I do now.
That's so
I was
crazy.
like, yeah, cool, sure. And he said, it's tomorrow. And what was really nice is that we didn't meet in a studio. We met at a coffee shop.
And we went to the beach. And like, what was so sick is I think meeting someone so far away from home made me feel like I was at home. So you shot me as Dom.
Yeah.
There was no persona. I wasn't in a studio with a load of makeup running across my like Ziggy Stardust ideas going, let's do something mental.
Oh no, we were so low key. And some of the most low key photos I've ever seen of you.
I like some of my favourites, and I can't wait to kind of look back on them in like 5 years or something. Actually,
funnily enough, we'd mentioned that I moved in with Tom recently. I was unpacking all my stuff, and I found the original Polaroids yesterday. I've still got all of them. They're starting to fade, but we've got them. And it was really nice. It was a nice moment because as a photographer, it's sometimes quite hard to get energy out of people. And I've always said I really like taking photos of people with huge public personalities, I suppose, musicians or artists or actors. And I like shooting them as the person that I see in front of me. So if they're a really big musician like you, I like taking photos of them eating pizza on the beach.
Dude, I love that.
Sitting on a sofa at home, because I always really want to show people the person that I see rather than the person that they see, because there are so many different sides to people. And as a photographer, sticking to the idea of perception, it's really important to take the responsibility on board that you're going to be putting another brick in the wall of how other people perceive that person. So you have to be responsible, because you don't want to highlight something that isn't necessarily them. I've been in the same situation, I'm sure, when you've been at a shoot, when you've been like, this isn't me, this isn't me, I don't want to wear this, I don't want to do this. And as a photographer or a creative director or a director, you always have to listen to that person, because you need to respect and honor the perception that they want to give off to the world and who they want to be. So that's why I love just walking around with a camera, and that's how I've always done shoots for magazines and things. It's annoying because I can't say give me half an hour. I say give me 4 hours for someone. Let's go for dinner. Let's go shopping. Let's walk around, and I'll just bring my camera with me. And you do it. But some people can't do it. Some people are really boring.
Do you know, like, we actually do now after this, man.
But I made a video for you on tour. Do you remember that?
That was one of my favourite. Like, do you remember? Like, I was like, why don't you just come out on tour? And it's like we started in Italy. And then we just ended up in Switzerland. Yeah. And we just went everywhere.
No, I went further than Switzerland. We went Italy, then we went Poland, Germany, Switzerland.
You left in Poland.
I left Poland at the end.
You left in Poland, which was mad, and you left just before we went on stage, didn't you, I think?
And I remember how I left is I didn't say goodbye to anyone because everyone was really busy. So I was packing up all my bags to go, and as I was leaving, you were sound checking, and I just heard, Aeneas! over the speakers, and I came back in, and Dom was like, Gav, you had been like, where's Aeneas? And Gav was like, she's leaving, and you were like, you're not leaving without saying goodbye.
Yeah, and I was like, ran and got you. I was like, I remember, because we were just jamming on stage.
And I played bass with you just before I left.
Yes, you did. We need to re-find that video. What? Yeah. Dude, that was so cute. It was mad, man. It was mad.
We've had some fun times.
Dude,
and then I came up to your, one of our favourite memories was me coming up to your parents' house for your Christmas party. Oh my God,
do you remember? And this was 2019, just before, the most mental year ever.
Yeah.
And I remember, we came up to the north, and, I had a Christmas party, and it was kind of just really when we started kind of getting any traction, serious traction here. And I remember I was like, I'm going to have everyone, all my schoolmates, and everyone kind of who's, I love and dear to me, because we've been on tour all year, come to a Christmas party at a working men's club. And I remember, do you remember, there was an Oasis tribute band on called the Mad Ferrets.
Yeah.
And I remember the fake Noel Gallagher's face. Let's call him Joel Gallagher. Joel Gallagher's face when Aeneas walks in, and obviously she's got the eyebrows, so he just draw his face. I think he stopped playing guitar.
The worst thing was when me and Tom will remember this, we were standing outside smoking, naughty children, and we were outside, and they'd kind of taken off their Oasis clothing, uniform. They were standing outside having a cigarette in the break. And they said, what do you think about the band on then? And I was like, they're not very good, are they? And like the guy was like, oh, cheers. And I was too drunk to realise, but Tom kind of touched me and went, that's him.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it made me laugh, and it was really great. And we got up and we sung together.
We did. What did we sing? We sang Talk Tonight, I think.
Yeah, we sang
That's
Talk
my favourite
Tonight.
song, yeah.
It was great.
Just felt like, again, it just felt like home or something. It was like that feeling you can never get, like never replicate until you're in it. Like it was literally like lager from Dirty Taps in a working men's club.
Yeah.
Was just
Chinese
some, like,
buffet.
Legitimately, I literally like went to my local Chinese and was like, right, can I rent you out for the night? For me local Chinese, and they just kept bringing Chinese to everyone, and my aunties were there, my uncles were there, my aunties' cousins were there.
There were children running around.
Literally children running around at like midnight, pulling on the dad's leg, and the dad like spills lager on the son's head and stuff. You know?
It was like really shit wedding vibes. It was amazing.
It was absolutely really shit wedding vibes.
It was brilliant. And they had all those like multicoloured like laser lights, going around.
That is so funny, bro. Probably one of the best nights of my life. Now I'm thinking about that. It's like everyone was just there.
It was actually one of the best nights of my life as well, because I was there with you and Tom, and it was the first night I met one of my best mates now, Jessica.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, I left your parents' cottage at like 7 a.m. and I got the train home to London, and at midday I met my boyfriend for the first time ever. So it was a blessed 24 hours.
Wow.
I know.
I didn't even know that.
I know. I remember sitting at the pub with Tom saying, I'm going to go on this date with this guy I met on a dating app tomorrow. Tom taking the piss out of him because he was a farmer and his name was Julius and he was really posh. And Tom was like, you sure you want to go on a date with this guy?
Yeah. I remember this. She was like, Tom, you'll back me up on this. And watch his eyes go massive. Watch his eyes go massive. She's like, yeah, she's gone on a date with a farmer. I was like, oh yeah, that won't last long. A year later, 2 years later, happily married. Well, not yet. But,
no, not yet. God.
Don't say that. Sorry. But yeah, man, that's so funny. I literally remember going to Tom, oh yeah, that won't last long.
I know. It was, for some reason, I always look back on it, and that some nights of your life, some days, some periods, whether it be an hour or a month or a year, are just kind of sprinkled with fairy dust, and they have this amazing energy around them, and you don't know why. You didn't do it, nobody else kind of did it, it just happened, and it's something really beautiful. That period of time, probably those 2 weeks, then Christmas, was so lovely. But it's also, for everybody out there who knows that it's important not to try and then chase that fairy dust, because you're never going to be able to replicate it. You've just got to know that it comes and it goes, and you're at the mercy of the universe, and you've got to just enjoy the good times and the bad times, because without darkness there's no light.
I love that, and I love this. Thank you for coming on.
I love you.
I love you right back. Thank you for coming on.
Can we have some lunch now?
Yeah, let's do it.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
What's going on? This is the Yungblud podcast. Turn up that volume. Happy! What's up, guys? How are you all doing? 2021 has only just started, but I'm already having the best time on this podcast, man. Last week, I spoke to the unforgettable Aeneas Gallagher, and she spilt some secrets about me. The naughty girl. It's one of those episodes that you can only get on BBC Sounds, so if you haven't listened, head over there now. And in this episode, I'm talking about something that so many of you, I believe, think about and worry about. In fact, if you've never had insecurities about this one time or another, you're pretty bloody amazing. I'd like to learn from you. We're talking about body image and body standards. My guest this week is Martina. She's 19 from Argentina and is studying to be an English teacher. As a teenager, she felt fat, she felt ugly, and would avoid going out with her friends. But she worked really hard to love herself again, and now she has a healthy relationship with her body image. Martina wanted to talk about how current beauty standards can affect young people's lives, and she was so smart and she taught me a lot. Here's me and Martina. So we have our first guest all the way from Argentina. She's 19 years old. Her name's Martina. That rhymes. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, man. I'm so excited to have you on a podcast. Like, when I was reading what you submitted, it really made me believe that this is something that a lot of people need to hear. And I think a lot of people listening to this podcast are going to find a lot of comfort and a lot of help within your story. What was it like as a child and growing up? Did you always feel a little bit different to your friends?
When I was a child, I used to be like just one more person of my group of friends. I wouldn't feel different. I was just a kid playing with dolls or playing with whatever I would play in kindergarten. Everything was okay. When I started to feel I was different is when I was in secondary school, the first year. I was 12 years old and I was like, I think I'm different, but I don't know how. I don't know which part of me is different from them. And I remember one day I was leaving my house. I was in a hurry, so just dress up, look myself in the mirror, and that was I remember the moment when I realized I didn't like how I look. And I was like, hey, I don't like this, but this is me. What I'm going to do? You know, I can't change
100%.
this face. This is the face I was born with. What am I going to do? And it was a long, really long way to love myself. That it's something I could do last year.
Complete. I think body image and the kind of the way we as a society have formulated what is the answer of what is beautiful is something that our generation is redefining and is rearranging every single day. I think beauty comes from, it can come from anything. Beauty can come from absolutely anything. And there should be no limitation to what beautiful means. There should be no barrier or boundary or box that beauty should tick. I think every single person has an element of beauty to them from every walk of life. Like the fact that we are all completely individual is a sense of beauty. It's a sense of beauty within itself. Like, did you not like the way you looked because of the way you taught that, or the way you felt you should look?
Exactly. Like, I grew up watching Disney Channel, which I love. I love Disney Channel, you know, and you were on Disney Channel. Yeah. But I used to watch the American Disney Channel. That was the one we could watch in Argentina. All I was watching was like skinny girls, skinny, beautiful girls. And I couldn't see a resemble of myself in there. I tried to think of a character. I would say like, hey, I look like this. This is me. I can resemble with this character. She is living what I'm living. Until last year, when I watched Euphoria, that is an HIV
Brilliant show.
Well, it's an amazing show, and Barbie Ferreira is there, and I totally love her character, and I love her because I look like her. So now I can be like, hey, this is what happened to me. I got fat as a kid, and now I have to love myself with this body I have. And last year, I lost 16 kilos. Is like a lot of pounds. I don't know which is the exchange, but I lost a lot of weight in a really short period of time. So I have to get used to this body too. Yeah. It's really difficult. It's just a long journey.
And you found it hard when you were losing weight because people started to be like, you look really good, you look really like...
I was really happy, not gonna lie. Everyone was telling me, you look beautiful. You look beautiful.
But didn't you say, some people would say like, oh, what a glow up, and you were like, I don't want necessarily to have a glow up. I'm beautiful as I am. This is who I am. I want to be who I am. Like,
exactly.
Just because the way you believe or a society is placed upon us, what we believe is beautiful, that losing weight automatically means I'm having a glow up. I think the thing to kind of really resonate out there is beauty radiates with happiness.
Exactly.
I really think it does.
Yeah, I really agree.
I really want to, really want to kind of shout to everyone out there, be proud of your shape, be proud of your sizes, be proud of your face, be proud of your teeth, be proud of your eyebrows, be proud of your shoulders, be proud of your boobs, be proud of your knees, your feet, your toes, because they are yours. They are no one else's. And that is beautiful in itself. I think you're gorgeous. I think you're cool as hell. I love your hair, And I think
Same.
it's so cool to see you just be so confident in yourself now. You write essays about this, right? You write about this.
Yeah,
you write literature.
I have a journal where I write everything that just makes me feel really sad or really uncomfortable, something I just feel that I can't talk with everyone else. I feel like I have a ton of friends and I love them with all my heart. We've been friends since we were like 3 years old, you know? But I can't talk about this with them because it gets really sad.
At the end of the day, they might not understand. And I think the important thing to know is just because they're your friends, they don't need to understand every single part of you. That's what is so beautiful about human connection. Your best, like a lot of my best friends from where I grew up, don't have a clue about me now. They just know Dom's doing Dom and they'll never get that. But that doesn't mean that they don't love me or know me any less. They just know a different part of me and understand a different part of me. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. And I think it's brilliant that you're writing. I think it's amazing. Like, I'm so proud to belong to our generation because we are redefining the topic of beauty. I think we really are. And I think the way we do that is by literature, is by poetry, is by art, is by TV shows. So someone can watch it, hear it, read it, live it at home and be like, do you know what? I'm exactly like them and they are so cool. They are so beautiful. And it's just awesome.
Yes, I think that especially in my country, the beauty standards are really high. If you're not skinny, you won't be on TV. If you're not beautiful, especially if your face is not beautiful, you won't be on TV. And that's something I think we all know. And if you end up on TV because you are fat and you're not on TV anyway, it's because you're important. Like you're an important journalist or a really successful person. But it's something we have to deal with.
Well, we have to change it. We have to change it. And the people like you are going to change it. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it all my love to Argentina right now. Any country right now that you feel the same, we will change it. The future is unwritten. We are the ones who are going to write it. And we are going to write it by having conversations like this.
Yeah, I think that a lot of things have to change, you know. A few years ago, I would go to buy clothes and I couldn't buy my size. Like, you wouldn't find my size. Yeah, and even as a kid, my mom used to take me to these teenagers' clothes, really cool shops. But because I was 10 years old and I couldn't find clothes for kids, I couldn't. Yeah. Me as a kid, I used to struggle with that because I noticed where I was. I knew it was not like a cute kids shop. And now it changed and I know where to buy clothes. I know which shops they have clothes my size and which they don't. So if I know they don't have size, I just don't go. Like, I'm not going to torture myself like that anymore.
To me, that's going to be redefined to a place of, I'm not going to go in that shop because it's not my style. That's what we have to do. It's not necessarily about feeling rubbish because they don't have your size in there. It's just about being like, all right, I'm not going to go into a sports shop because I don't wear tracksuits. That's the way we need to feel. At the end of the day, there's different clothes for different people and you will look beautiful in them no matter who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you recommend to teenagers feeling unhappy with the way they look? What would you say to them? Just what would you say to them? Just purely conversationally from your perspective. No, you don't need. I'm not asking you to kind of preach or give some poetic answer. Just what would you say?
I would say, like, if you need help because you feel like you need it, go and get it. If it's someone who's a specialist on the theme, if it's your mom, your dad, whoever you think like this person it will help me, go and ask for help because it's really important. And I ask for it myself. If you feel like this kind of clothes you really like and the other people don't, you don't have to care about that. Use the clothes you like to use. You have to love yourself, not the other people. And if that kind of people you want to be friends with are judging you because how you look, well, you don't want to be friends with them. Because that is not a friend. That's really not a friend. So you think like, first of all, love yourself. Then focus on the people who surrounds you. We don't need toxic people in our lives, you know. Beautiful. We just need to be ourselves. And if you feel like you have to lose weight, go and lose it. You know, start to eat a little bit healthier. Maybe look for an activity that makes you feel happy, like dancing. Go and dance. Enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Because if you lose a lot of weight, but then you don't like yourself because you're just a different person, well, it didn't help. Losing weight doesn't mean you're going to love yourself or you're going to be pretty. That's something really to think about too.
Beautiful. Martina, you're incredible. Thank you so much for coming on the Yungblud podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting. Oh, by the way, if you come to Argentina, I will go to show. I have your ticket here. You know?
Oh my god, that's correct. What I'm gonna do
is your Argentina ticket.
Dude, I'm gonna get everyone on the podcast. I want to meet you. I want to have a video with you.
I will take you to Buenos Aires.
Dude,
I will give you a city tour.
I love it. Man.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you around.
Martina, what a legend. I just love how deeply she thought about the issues and how she's using her own experience to try and change the conversation around beauty and body image, man. This is what our generation is doing. Beauty is not just about the stuff that we look at on the outside. It's about what is in us and what is underneath us, what makes us who we are. And you're all bloody beautiful. If you want more information or support about this topic, you can check out BBC Action Line and you can listen to loads more episodes on BBC Sounds. I love you all. See you later.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
This is the Yungblud podcast. Turn up that volume. Yo, what's up? How are you all doing? You know the drill. Each episode I talk to one of you at home about something personal in your life. Today's guest is Dom. Good name. He's 20 from Adelaide, Australia. So he stayed up all night to chat with me, the legend. Our late night conversation was all about sex. Yes, man, the S word. He's not sure if he wants sex unless he's actually in love with the person or has an emotional connection. He feels alienated from his mates who have casual sex, and he's not spoke to him about this. So I was really happy to chat to him about this and normalise the conversation. It's always about normalising these conversations. There's some naughty language, as always, and adult content, so don't tell your parents. Sit back, strap in, and get ready for two Doms talking about love and talking about sex. I am here with my alternative ego, Dom from Australia. How are you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well, thank you. How is it down there?
It's 41 degrees today, so that's not nice, but what can you do?
Dude, I can imagine. And today we're talking about the grand old idea of sex. The big subject, the S word. And I think we can have such crazy ideas and put crazy pressure on what sex and sexuality may be. And I think it can be so tough, especially for young people, you know what I mean, when we're first coming out into the world and discovering what sex is about, you know. And I think it's important for us all to understand that just like breathing or what food we like, sex is different for every single person.
Yep. Completely.
And it can be quite a scary thing, or people can absolutely love it. When did you first have sex?
I just turned 17. Yeah, I just turned 17. It was with my lovely girlfriend at the time. And, you know, and we were madly in love, and it was nice. And, yeah. You said that for you, sexual encounters and sexual experience, you like it to be emotional. You like it to be, you can't really just kind of like, all right, hello, nice to meet you, I'm going to take my clothes off, let's have sex. Yeah, like, you know, I've tried that, and it's just, you know, it's like you want to enjoy it, but it's just, it doesn't feel right, you know? Like, it's a hard thing to describe, but... Yeah, 100%. I think it can be so daunting. As I said earlier, like, each of us are different. I think sex... to me is about expression, and it's just like if you're painting a picture. Some people will take a year on it, some people will take 10 minutes on it, some people will not want to paint a picture for a long time, some people want to paint one every day. I think with it, if you are out there and you are feeling like you don't want to have sex, or you want loads of sex and everyone else around you is doing what is different to you, there's no need to be scared, because sometimes you feel a bit
like you're an alien, don't you? If you're not having loads of sex.
Yeah, like, because, like, so I did the whole, so I finished school in 2018, and then, like, 2019, for 6 months, I did the whole, you know, backpack through Europe, discover myself, and all that stuff with my mate Ethan. And, you know, and I found that what I was asked the most when I got back was like, oh, how many girls you root, Dom? And it's like, oh, don't you want to see? I went to Italy, I saw a really cool piece of art. I think that's pretty cool. But
I think you're cool as fuck. the fact that you are kind of saying that you prefer emotional connection, and you prefer to feel someone feel you and love you and experience you. I think that's really cool, and I think there can be such a massive idea, especially for boys. It's a special toxic masculinity going, how many girls did you have sex with this month? How many girls did you have sex with today? How many girls are you talking to on the internet? There's so many questions, and all we want to do is just exist, and we just want to be. You know what I mean? Especially where I'm from, when I kind of came from a perspective where I was finding people from every sex, every gender, everything attractive. Everyone was always just kind of like, girls, 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 girls. And I was petrified to be like, do you know what? I kind of think I find boys attractive too.
Yeah. Some of us are really good looking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you are a good looking man, Dom. But that's what I'm saying. This is a stigma that our generation is very much quickly changing. I think there's a big sexual revolution.
Now it's like, I reckon we're about to have this big breakthrough sort of thing. And it's just like, you know, really like Harry Styles on Vogue and stuff. Like, you know,
that
everyone
was so cool.
going crazy about him. Yeah. And it's like, I live for the day where it's like, yeah, cool, Harry's in a dress, he looks good. But other than that, there's no outrage.
Yeah,
like,
why is everyone freaking out about it?
It's just he's just
that's what
I'm
saying. But things like that need to happen so we get that change that we're looking for. I think with sex, man, you just got to be what you want to be, no matter who you're going to be. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're going to be. When you kind of come to pick up a partner, what does it feel like when you're doing it? Do you get nervous? Do you kind of go like a pressure, like, all right, I'm out with my friends now, I need to turn it on and turn on the persona?
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like, I mean, like, you know, I don't want to talk myself up or anything. I'm not shy. Like, I'm pretty confident, like, you know, the whole flirting and stuff. But then beyond that, it's just like, there's actually just no interest really. It's just like, you know, say a girl in a club, it's just a kiss. Like, it means nothing. And it's boring if it means nothing. Like, it's not that I dislike it, but I also don't enjoy it either. You know, like, if there's no
100%.
enjoyment, what's the point? And then, you know, no one else really gets that.
And I agree, and I love that, man. And I love that individual nature of each and every one of us, because some people might get a kick out of that, but you don't. And I think that is what we need to talk about more, and what we need to uplift more, that everybody is different.
Yeah, and isn't it just the best feeling as well when you find someone who actually gets that, and like you're with that person and it's just
completely
what
because
you're waiting for.
If you think exactly, so that's the thing about it. If you're two people and two people are looking for emotional connection and they find each other, beautiful, magic's made. But if two people are just wanting to have sex and another person is just wanting to have sex, that's also can be magic as well. But that can be magic for other people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I think that's what's cool, because what is so sick to me about you and about so many people I've spoken to on this podcast, you are just, without hesitation and without fear, who you are.
Yeah.
And that is what it's about. That is what is cool. That is what is so attractive. That is what makes me so proud to know you all, and so proud to want to kind of be in this culture and this community together, because it's not all of us about being in one uniform and talking about one thing and talking about one thing. You said that, like, sometimes you come to my show and you wouldn't normally feel like you're dressed the same as everyone else. I think that's cool as fuck, because that's exactly what Yungblud is. It's an accumulation of people who come together for a reason, because they believe in the same idea, even if there's a million different strands of whatever that idea may mean.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, I love being at your show because, like, you know, I dress, you know, what you'd consider normal, just, you know, normal pants, normal shirt, whatever. And it was so cool being in the minority for once. Like, it was alienating, it was weird, but it was just like, it's great. Like, you know, this is the crowd where no one gives a shit. Like, who cares? Yeah,
dude, everyone's just like, oh, cool. Everyone's just like there for one common reason, and that just excites me so much. When we talk about drinking and sex, you said sometimes that you drink and numb yourself to have sex.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us can do that. It kind of, on a dark hour, anybody listening out there who's having a dark hour, you'll probably relate heavy to this, because I've done it. I've related, like, especially when I'm kind of mourning or grieving or something, I'll go out, I'll get drunk and be like, okay, let me have sex, because I need to find some sort of validation or some sort of feeling. But then you wake up the next day and we're like, what even happened?
Yeah. Well, it's just, I find, like, with drinking, like, it definitely lowers the barriers down, but it's just like, it takes a while to get there, and it's just like, that's eventually when I'm like, let's do this. It's just, why not? It's less of a I want to, but more of a everyone else is, I may as well. And it's just not a healthy mentality to have around sex, I don't think.
It's the same as if you were drinking at work. You know what I mean? You wouldn't. You're just like numbing yourself to it so you can do it. And I just want to say to anybody out there, like, when this idea or this topic comes up, and if you are squirming inside or if you are excited inside, you have every right to feel exactly how you feel. Do you talk to your friends much about this?
No, like, that's the thing. It's just like, like some of my best mates, like, I couldn't open up to this, like, about them or about this to them, because it's just like, I'm sure they won't judge me, but it's just like, it's the fear of, like, then I won't be invited out on the nights where they're like, oh, let's go to the club, let's go and tune a few girls. And it's like, I enjoy that, like, it's fun, but it's just, but then if people think, oh, Dom doesn't want it, it's just, he's going to be a buzzkill. And, like, it's not that I don't always want it. Sometimes you do, because sometimes you meet this girl or, guy, whatever, like, that you're in the mood for, and that you're just really connecting and stuff.
I completely understand. I've always been quite sexual. I'm quite a sexual person. I think that's kind of within my energy. I've always been quite open about it. But where I was from, I found it hard because I didn't know what I was yet. And then I think a lot of the society I grew up around kind of needed me to know what I was very quickly and very much wear that on my sleeve. When it's alright to play your cards a little bit close to your chest, man.
Yeah, just do your own thing when you want to.
I'd like to go on a night out here. You seem like a legend.
I like a fun night. I just like to dance and sing. Like, karaoke bars are my shit. Like,
dude, same. I love karaoke. I'm obsessed with karaoke.
For me, karaoke is better than sex, honestly.
Oh, that is a brilliant... I love that statement.
I'll say that, yeah. I will openly say that.
Dom from Australia, karaoke is better. What's your favourite karaoke song?
Actually, at the moment, it's Banquet by Block Party.
Love a bit of Block Party.
I've just been really going through a Block Party phase, and, like, Banquet, like, I sang it like a couple of weeks ago at a club, and oh man, it went off. Like,
did you tear the roof off?
But I sounded shit, but of course,
Karaoke is about what you put into it.
Yeah.
Man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when we're talking about emotional connection, that's what you get. That's what you do. Mine's Girls and Boys by Blur. I'm like, Streets like a jungle.
Call the police.
I'm literally just like proper, like, speaking my mouth like this.
Yeah, and like for me, like, that's my release, like, everyone has their own thing to release. Like, singing and dancing, that's my shit.
Everyone has different releases. Keep releasing in a way that you want to release, everybody. Just release, get it out, man. Get it out, be proud of it. Thank you so much, Dom from Australia, for coming on the Yungblud podcast. You're a total legend. Thank you for being so open about the idea of sex. That takes a lot of balls, and I hope you all at home found a little bit of solace in it. And if you are struggling with anything whatsoever, don't worry. You can go to the BBC Action Line. Dom, you're a legend. Have a good day, man. I'll see you soon.
Love you, man. Have a good night or day, whatever it is.
Whatever it is. I love that conversation, man. I just really believe our generation is so progressive about the idea of sex and sexuality and the millions of forms that it can take. But it is important to remember the emotional side of sex. You've always got to keep in mind the other person's feelings throughout every single sexual experience. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast on BBC Sounds. I promise there'll be more conversation about sex. I'll see you next week. Bye.
This podcast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Yo, this is the Yungblud podcast. Turn up that volume. This is a place where I get to know you guys a little bit better every single second.
Each week I talk to you when you're at home about something that you're going through, something that's going on in your life, something big, something scary, maybe even something you never even talked about before. This is your space to let it all out and just be you. This week my guest is Faris. He's a 23-year-old British Pakistani digital animator. Faris is absolutely killing it in his career. I'm a massive fan, man. He's designed live stage visuals for Stormzy's Glastonbury set, as well as artists like AJ Tracy and Steph London. But it has taken a lot to get there. Faris grew up witnessing his mum be a victim of domestic abuse. We're not going to go into too much detail about domestic abuse because it's going to be a very personal subject, but we will be talking about it and the effects it had on Faris and his family. And because we're talking about this, it obviously contains strong language, sensitive subjects and adult themes. I just want to warn anybody, if you find something like this difficult, you might want to give this one a miss. I think Faris is so strong to share his story. Here we go. Yo, what's up, Faris, man? How are you?
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm vibing, man. I'm good, man. Your haircut's sick. I like your Denzel Curry. I like your Denzel Curry vinyl.
I knew you would, bro. Thank you so much, man. Safe, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Are you?
Good. Yeah, all good, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, bro.
Really
thank you. No, I'm so excited about this, and it's a subject matter I relate to very heavily. So
100%, man.
As I say, wish I didn't, but I do. So let's.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's it. Yeah.
Firstly, I just want to say I'm a massive fan of what you do. I've seen your work. I've seen. I think it's incredible, and you've done so much at such a young age. And I just wanted to talk about kind of what it took to get to this place.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I grew up I was born in London, like northeast London. And so I'm half Pakistani. So my dad was Pakistani, so I spent a lot of time in Pakistan. And from what I remember, like, it was sick. I actually loved it. Like, the culture's amazing. As you can imagine, like, the food was amazing as well.
Yeah.
And I think kind of as we were starting to come back to London, there was kind of like there's always been like a sort of dark relationship between my parents, in terms of like, there was a lot of domestic violence towards my mum. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it was very rough, like, growing up. Like, it was my mum was just constantly under a lot of just involved with a lot of domestic violence on like, from my dad.
I mean, it's a subject matter, as I said earlier, it's a subject matter that I relate to heavily. So I think this conversation is going to be kind of very... we're not going to hesitate very much. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's so cool. I think when you kind of grow up in that kind of environment, it makes you question yourself so much, even though you are, that you maybe had kind of nothing to do with the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, man.
I think it can really shape who you are, and you can either go two ways. You can kind of...
That's it, man, yeah. You can really go, like, off the rails, like, on one end. Like, you can really deal with it really badly. But, like, I feel like on my end, like, I've always been very protective of my mum. And it was really hard because, like, at such a young age, like, you don't really want to take sides, you know?
Absolutely.
But like, I don't know how it was on your end, but, like, my situation was very one-sided, do you know what I mean? So I knew that what was happening was wrong. So it was quite easy for me to, like, always step in when it was getting, like, too much, you know, when the abuse was just getting so much, and I'd had to physically get involved at, like, such a young age to even, like, just pull my dad off of her, you know.
Yeah. Dude, I think.
Do you know what I mean?
Dude, I completely know what you mean, and I think the thing about it is like it was kind of, from a male perspective, from my point of view, but also from a female, from my mum's side as well. Yeah. It was hard, and it was hard not to kind of hate them, because you see that, and it's like you look like someone you love so much that but you just can't handle that. It's almost like your mind sees it, but you can't actually process it. And I think it can, as I say, it can really make you have to figure out your identity on the spot. You know what I mean? Because you either go, all right, I'm going to go down the road where I'm going to learn from that behaviour, or I'm going to go down the road where I'm going to absolutely
sever the head off that behaviour and never go anywhere near it, and kind of do everything I can to push against it.
100%,
And you kind of strike me as a person who puts a lot of that pain and a lot of that almost rearrangement of your brain into your work and into your art and into your kind of focus. Is that the case?
100%, man. Like, I think, like, obviously the situation that was happening there, like, we obviously had to get out. Like, my mum was under in a lot of pain, you know, and we ended up leaving my dad, basically. And the experiences that happened from, I guess, around age 1 to like 14 was so crucial to like how hard I work now.
Completely.
I think that, like, knowing like how hard like that sort of stuff, like living in that sort of situation was, like, it will never leave me. And I'm, in some ways, like, I'm really grateful for that, to be honest. Like, there's always something like I can take from it.
Dude,
and be grateful
isn't that so crazy? Isn't that so like, when I think about that, I'm like, when I think about that kind of thing, it's so mental that you almost kind of not happy it happened, but it made you who you are. So it's part of your soul. Like, I don't, if everything was hunky dory, like, I might not be the person I am.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? And isn't that such a twisted, dark thought?
It's crazy, because in the time, like, you think that, like, you're never gonna get out of it. You're never gonna, like, escape that sort of, like, this bounding mentality that you're just completely alone and you're never gonna meet anyone who's going through the same sort of things that you are. But in reality, like, everyone kind of deals with their own things, and like everyone's going all through the same sort of things, like,
at the same time.
So much, exactly, man, and it's so much more common. But like, as a kid, I think you'll relate to this a lot as well, man. Like, you know, times when, like, say you go to your mate's house and you go to your mate's house and you're just so jealous of like the family that they have, because everything's so normal, and you're like, bruv, why can't I just like why can't my house just be like this?
Oh yeah, but my weird thing was when kind of mates would come round to my house and then it'd all start kicking off.
Yeah, man.
That was the worst thing for me, and I can feel that knot in my stomach now.
Yeah.
Or I'd be on the phone to my friend and be like, "What's that in the background?" I'm like, "Nothing." And,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you
Just
like,
ignore it. Just
you just got to. It's kind of, and the hard thing is that they know exactly what's happening and they know exactly what you're like, but
yeah, man.
The kind of. It's just hard to see that on the face when they're just like, pretending to be like, all right, man, I get it. When they're just like, what is going on here? Get me out of this house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How is your mental health now on that? You kind of traumatized, or are you? I know we were talking about earlier that we kind of everything happens for a reason, and it kind of shapes us who we are. Yeah. How is your mental health at the moment?
Yeah, well, I think like I've never been to therapy, but I think I haven't been to therapy, but I'm one of the people who would always advise people to go to therapy regardless of whatever you've been through. I think it's just a really positive thing to do. I've known a lot of people who have done it. Like, taking it back again, like when I was younger, I didn't realize at the time, because you don't really realize at the time, innit, that I was going through like a lot of like abandonment issues.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know they were abandonment issues until my girlfriend was like, yo, like, you were actually that's exactly what it was, when I'd start telling her these stories of like how I used to act when I was younger. Because I swear, like, this must have been so hard for my mum, because she was working like 3 jobs at the time, just living in this like rundown council house with 3 kids, just trying to raise them on her own. And I was in a position where I didn't have a mum that was at home all the time, but I didn't have a dad as well. So I kind of just had to do it on your own. I just had to do everything on my own. Like, my mum, like, and bless her, like, it's just because she had to work so hard, you know, and she didn't really like understand what I was doing like a lot of the time. She only knew like what I was studying until like my 3rd year of uni, I think. So like it got to the point where crazy. Like I've just been constantly just working and doing whatever just to I don't know, just to. I think this whole
to exist, man.
Yeah, man. Just to give I felt like it's kind of to give myself a purpose, you know.
But I feel that's so heavy, man, because that's exactly why. That's exactly why.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I did it. It got me into
man.
it. I was like, I am not happy in this world.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna build my own. And talking about building worlds, you're an animator. You're an incredibly talented animator.
Oh, thank you so much, bro. Oh my god.
How did you get into that? Where did that go? All right, this is where I gotta go.
Yeah, fam. Okay, basically, like, so when I was in Pakistan, Like, I've always been into animation. I've always loved animation, like, especially 2D animation, like hand-drawn animation. That shit is just incredible to me, right? And I can't draw. Like, I can't draw. I think that's why it was so cool to me, because I just can't. I can't pick up a pen and draw something.
That's so
And you're
sick.
always going to love what you can't do. You're always going to be fascinated by something you can't do, I think, you know? So, like, I in Pakistan, like, all I used to watch was The Jungle Book. Because it's the only English movie that I had, isn't it? Like, that's literally, I used to watch that every single day. I'd sit there twizzling my hair, just watching it all day. But like, yeah, bro, I've literally got like a balloon behind me, innit? Like,
oh my God, that's so
I live and die by that film, like, and like, especially the 60s version, like.
There's so much in it. There's so much metaphors in it. Even now, watching it now, it's
man.
like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
that's so crazy to me. You don't draw, but I so get that, because I cannot produce for shit. But I know what's in my head. So when I'm with someone, they're on the computer, and I find it frustrating sometimes, because I'm like, that's not the sound I hear in my head. They're like, well, do it. And I'm like, I can't. Do you know what I mean? I wish I could. I just need to ask, right? Okay, so you're in Pakistan, right?
Yes.
You watch the Jungle Book, and then cut to you designing stuff for Stormzy and Dave. In a tiny amount of time, can you just tell me about 1, 2, 3, how you got there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so like, I mean, I guess I've finished school, didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. Was kind of like, I was very motivated though. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I needed to
do something
that I loved and that would make me some money. But I've never wanted to be like a boss. Do you know what I'm saying? I've just wanted to be comfortable and make people in my family comfortable. That's all I've kind of wanted. Yeah. I'm not trying to be like, you know, like the next big thing. I've just wanted to be happy.
So cool, man. I
went to college to study animation. Again, like, the thing about that is, like, no one knew what I was doing. I just kind of picked up animation while I was just, like, I started making cartoons, like, just in my free time. And it's funny because it's something that, like, I would get bullied a lot for in school, because people thought it was, like, stupid or something like that, you know? So crazy. Because I'd like make little cartoons on my computer and like voice them over and all that sort of stuff, and I love doing it. But the problem with that, again, is like, I didn't have a computer. Like, I used to use my mum's like little notebook that she used for her emails. Bro, when I went to college, it was such a hard time, man, because we didn't, like, I've never had money growing up, and I didn't realize how much kind of money you needed to invest in this sort of stuff in terms of like equipment. And I'm sure this stuff, the thing about this is it relates to music so much. Like, it's just creating art, you know
Completely.
what I'm saying? Like, and you do need the equipment to be able to do so, you know? And like, without any of that, like,
Payne needs his paintbrush, man.
That's it, man. 100%. Like, I didn't have the equipment to do any of that. And like, going to college, you see all these kids who are just, oh, yo, I just got this new Mac or whatever. And I'm sat there like, bruv, I don't even like, I used to pretend that I had a computer and just stay after hours, just stay there and work, because
so cool.
I physically couldn't do anything at home. And again, bless my mum, she just couldn't afford it. But I was so lucky that a guy in my class ended up lending me one of his computers, and bro, from then I was just lost in it. I used to animate all day, every night, because it was just, I don't know, like it was an art form that wasn't so out there for me. Like, it was something I could just express myself in like really weird ways.
There's no limitation.
Do you know what I mean?
There's no limitation,
exactly, man. Exactly, yeah, man. I'm constantly learning. Like, I'm always learning about new stuff or new software that's coming out, and it's so interesting to be involved in. You know,
dude. I think that's so crazy. I think even right now, like, I released my album last year, and I'm kind of back in the studio now. I'm already back in the studio, and people are like
mad.
Going crazy. And I think when we talk about limitations and kind of figuring out for the first time that, whoa, there is no limitations. On Weird, I wanted to do 7 different versions of myself, and people understood it, and people kind of relate to it so heavy. Bro. So now I'm in the studio going further and further and further and further and further, because, again, that's what provides peace.
Yeah, man.
To bring something. The best thing in the world, right, is when you bring something into the world that wasn't there that morning.
Man.
You know what I mean?
100%, man. I know 100% what you mean.
That's the coolest thing. That's the coolest thing ever. And what I want to say to anyone out there that's listening is, like, what you go through in your life can be hard or it can be easy. But be ultimately proud to be who you are and to do what you want to do. No matter what you face, no matter what you go through, you have the right to be utterly yourself and utterly pursue what you want to do, no matter what that may be. And if you work hard and sweat and sweat and sweat and sweat, you can achieve absolutely anything. I know that sounds really corny. But it's true, man. Listen to this story, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. What did it feel like when you first saw your visuals on stage?
Bro, I cried my eyes out.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Fam, I literally, I didn't know, like, because, like, I mean, you know, I don't know, I started, like, making a lot of my stuff and, like, putting it online, right? And, I got contacted by this, they're like a creative company called Tourbox. Incredible people. They're the people who gave me these opportunities to do the visuals at the sets and stuff. The first one I did was an AJ Tracy set in Brixton.
So sick.
And bro, like, I've been trying to get into the visual scene for so long, and like going to events and raves and all that sort of stuff, and seeing those visuals, like I always wanted to do something like that. When I got the AJ one, I just couldn't. It didn't really make sense in my head. How is this happening to me? You know. And then I went there. I remember I went there. I went there just to like. I had to see it and I had to film it for my portfolio, obviously. So I'm like standing there, like, and the guys got me in. It's like I was just kind of in the regular crowd, just standing there, like filming it on my phone, just like in tears. And people were looking at me like, "What the hell?
Yeah,
is,
what's he doing?
Like,
an AJ Tracy show.
Yeah, it's like, why is the guy crying?
Yeah. Why is that guy with curly hair just crying his eyes out? I love that. That's so hard.
I swear, that's it, man.
That's just brilliant, man. You're cool as fuck, bro. Honestly, Faris, man.
No,
thank you so much for coming on the YB podcast.
Nah, man, thank you so much for having me, bro. I need to say, like, everything you're doing, man, like, is seriously incredible, bro. Like, I honestly wish that you were around when I was growing up, because, like, fam, like, for example, the music video you made for God Save You But Don't Drown Me Out, yeah. Every time I watch that, I swear I get chills, because it's the perfect representation of how I grew up, like in an area where no one knows who you are, like no one cares. You look different. Like growing up in my area as like an Asian guy, like you're always stared at, you're always looked at differently. And I think your representation of just being different, but like you just want to be yourself. You don't never want to leave your room because you know people, and like just. Mate, like I just wish I had that teddy bear to back me up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Like I watch it and I'm like, bro, if this guy was just there for me, like that's would have been it. But I swear, bro, if I had seen that when I was a kid, like that really would have helped me a lot, man. And I'm sure you're doing so much for kids these days, bro. And
Thank you, bro, man. I really appreciate that, and I think that's it, man. It's like whatever's inside of us just needs to be captured.
100%.
And I think as long as it's real and as long as it's raw, it can be anything.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's it. I think every single person, like, that's what I always say to everyone. It's like, there's never been anyone like you. There will never be anyone like you. So be absolutely, like, you're fucking amazing just by existing. You're brilliant. You are a miracle just by breathing. So just like own it, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. 100%.
Faris, you're a legend, man. Thank you so much,
man,
bro.
Thank you so much for having me on, bro. I really appreciate you, man.
Faris, what a legend, and thank you so much, Faris' mum, for allowing him to share her story. They are both so incredibly brave to put themselves out there like that. If anything from this episode has affected you in any way, you can find information and support by searching online for BBC Action Line. And if you think this episode might help someone, please do tell them about it. You can subscribe on a BBC Sounds app. Until then, I'll see you later.